All right, everybody. So I just got done a live stream. Thank you for everybody that joined me. Just went live for 2 hours just to chit chat about everything. Palantir being included in the S&P 500 and some of the options trades that I've been making lately. Just some life advice about investing in the stock market. How there's no one size fits all solution. And here we are. I hit refresh. I said, you know what's going on? Let's check out a little bit about. Let's check out YouTube TV. Let's check out what Monday Night Football is doing. Then, of course, we got Uncle Alex here with the message about the S&P 500 inclusion and the message to Palantirian. So let's take a listen here. Already off to a phenomenal start. Uncle Alex showing us up on his health is wealth kick.
On Friday, Palantir was admitted to the S&P, which is an enormous, momentous occasion for every Palantirian. It is enormous because the way in which we built the company should have precluded membership to the most elite institution in economic life, the S&P 500. In order to be on the S&P 500, you have to be GAAP profitable, which is a financial way of saying you have to make real tendies, subtracting everything after subtracting every...
Did he just say real tendies? This guy's a legend, dude.
...form of remuneration that could possibly be included, including your well-deserved equity. And we did it. And how did we do it? We built the best products in the world. We started off in one area of the West, clandestine services. We migrated into the military, into spec ops, into U.S. commercial, and into commercial globally. And how did we do that? We built products, first PD, PG, then we built Apollo, then we built products for the spec ops, then we built Maven, then we built Foundry, then we built the Ontology.
Wow, okay, so that's interesting. I've never heard him go through in chronological order what products were actually developed first. In my mind, because of my rudimentary experience with the company, I always thought it was PG. Then there were some other minor products that didn't necessarily have their own kind of standalone efforts. He said Apollo even before then, so software deployment actually coming out. And I guess they were using that internally at the company, but it wasn't necessarily available for commercial. And then he mentions Foundry. So it's pretty interesting because I recognize Foundry all the way back in 2016, 2017 when I first started working with the company. So to hear that come out after so many other products that they've been working on and names that I've heard, and then coupling that with the two announced products recently, Warp Speed and also Health Start. Curious to see what else he has to say. There's another 5 minutes.
And we then integrated that into AIP. All of these products were conceived and productized and now are being platformized, meaning we are taking them and making them the base substrate of what enterprises do, i.e. using us instead of what sometimes could be described as a monster internally that prevents the use of the most important technologies of our lifetime, i.e. AI and large language models, as an end user. And these were conceived again and productized, in some cases, a decade before anyone else even thought that you would need them, much less that the whole enterprise would turn on a platform that actually could power AI and large language models. It's still radical to the point where people do not completely comprehend. They do not comprehend how we could have turned a switch and...
I think that this is hitting something really key here because I remember going through the exercise with Foundry and they were talking about how everything needs to have a relationship and building everything kind of from the ground up. And I'm like, this is nice that it's really well organized, but like, does it need to be this well organized? And I think the reason why they knew is because when you're talking about LLMs and you're talking about artificial intelligence and the need to have these relationships, you need to make sure what pieces of data connect to another, right? And what level of data connects to another, because you might not necessarily be connecting a well to, let's just say, a specific pipeline, or let's just say an oil well wouldn't be connecting up to an LNG train, from my experience. Or if you're making Reese's Pieces, you probably aren't going to be having it in the same vicinity as marshmallows, right? So if you're talking about working at Mars Candy or Hershey's or something like that. So it's important to have all this stuff digitalized so that way you have an idea as to how the data hierarchy and structure really organizes itself and works. And what he means by, at least from my interpretation, you have these products that are getting these things prepared for the next wave of computer analytics and computer AI and everything the like. People aren't necessarily thinking on that wavelength. They're still thinking of Excel workbooks and putting things in manually and not necessarily having streaming data and everything connected up to the appropriate data structures. Versus these guys, they were 10 years ahead of the curve, working on Foundry in 2016, 2017. They knew exactly what we needed before we even needed to know it. These guys know the answer and where, things might be headed, ahead of time to try to help answer and guide you in a way that your organization doesn't even know yet, because it's still dealing with, let's just say, sticks and stones, and it hasn't even invented the wheel. Foundry's the wheel, and the car is going to be AI eventually. But we're still dealing with sticks and stones. It doesn't even necessarily know about what is possible, because we haven't even hit a digital revolution within a lot of organizations within the United States. So that's just how I'm interpreting it. It really hits home for me.
Gone to gap profitability and gone from what adults, professional managers, and some analysts thought was a Frankenstein monster powered by a freak show leader, me, to a dynamic, clearly profitable company worthy of and admitted to the S&P 500.
From a guy that has good looks and should be on the cover of GQ, my personal opinion.
And we did it our way. While everyone is now running around talking about how they should build platforms, how you should try to get Palantirians, realizing that no credible institution in commercial life can really be built without Palantir or an ex-Palantirian. We had already begun this. At the DPO, we rejected professional management, people everywhere discussing how to build companies in a way that keeps...
And that's a key point, right? Because everybody, Wall Street inclusive, mostly Wall Street rather, really looked down upon Palantir. Yes, they had an initial hype stock sort of rally in 2021, but throughout the rest of 2022, 2023, everybody looked down upon the company that said, you're not profitable, you're growing, but where's the profit? But yet everyone was still praising Snowflake about how they're growing hand over fist, and they're growing their sales organization, and Palantir doesn't know how to sell, and yada yada yada. But yeah, let's hear more.
The somewhat, if not toxic, often carcinogenic influence of people who've written PowerPoints out of your company. Palantir did this naturally. Our products reflect that. Our culture reflects it. Our revenue reflects it. Our quality of revenue affects it, reflects it. And by the way, our investor class. People trying to use the term retail investor, which is another way of saying people courageous enough to invest their own money, otherwise known as tendies, in...
Dude, tendies. I love it. If he uses tendies in a conference call, I'm going to lose it.
What they believe in. And look at the list of the people, our partners. I hate the term clients, but look at the list of people that use our product. The most important clandestine services, the most important special operators, the most important AI targeting work in the world, the most important allies, none of whom we're ashamed to support in private or in public. They rely on Palantir. Look at our list of commercial partners
I think that's such like a huge piece of the culture that I think a lot of people, they call them partners, right? And they say customer count and stuff in the earnings calls, but they always refer to our partner, and they did so even when I worked with them hand in hand back in 2016, 2017. And yeah, I thought that was an interesting situation, right? Like an interesting way to look at it, because so many people would be all about customers, 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 but these guys are about, we're partners. We're literally hoping that you get the outcomes that you want. That's why we're here. So it's just a different mindset, right? And it gets you to where you want to be just that little bit faster, which sometimes makes a life and death difference for the organization.
In and outside the US, but especially in the US, that use Palantir either at Foundry, the ontology, AIP, all the above, and are beginning, and in some cases are already using our platform as a platform. And then look at our structural advantage of having this, a company built around what you ought to build, not what you were told to build in some weird, otherwise called artistic program that's kind of academic and imposed upon you by people that have no skin on the game. We resisted that. We are going to continue to resist that, not just for our sake, but for the sake of our partners.
Right. Like, I think that's a beautiful way to say it. Like, they built products for everybody, versus Foundry is a box that you can customize, tailored specific towards what outcomes you're trying to receive. It's literally customizable software. And same thing with, I assume, PG and many of these other tools. There's a framework that puts things together, but that framework is what's useful for all the sorts of companies that are out there, not necessarily how you input X, Y, and Z. And that's what's going to make the difference in the long term. So, instead of having, say, Excel, which is a tool that fits all, you have a Cadillac that's designed specifically for you. It might be useless for the next client, but that's part of the beauty, is they're going to get a piece of product that they can legitimately put their entire company's operations built on, and have massive value gains, massive amounts of value added, cost savings, efficiencies that otherwise couldn't be realized with something as simple as Excel or PowerPoint or Power BI.
That rely on us. And in any case, everybody, all of you who are inside the company and around the world should celebrate that the rebels won. The rebels won on Friday. I don't know any other occasion like this where the rebels actually got inside the gate and helped the institutions transform themselves. And there's no better metaphor for that than being admitted to the S&P 500. And while it's maybe not the most important thing, I am really, really, really happy. Because we did this together, and the future belongs to us. So let's go attack, have some fun, and celebrate a momentous occasion. Thank you.
Yeah, I love the fact that they kept that last piece in there. That's a legend. Karp is an absolute legend. So I'm glad that you guys were able to share that with me. Hopefully my commentary was useful. Hopefully I didn't impede too much on that. I just wanted to watch that raw with you guys. I didn't watch it beforehand. It just came out, I guess 30 minutes ago. And I said, you know what? Like, less than 500 people at that point had seen it. Let's just go and record a quick video for you guys. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. And that's pretty funny. Yeah, I love that, the rebels, because it's so true. 2022, they hated Palantir, gave it a crap valuation, and next thing you know, Snowflake is doing the complete opposite. It's flopping, and it's like their market cap's exactly flopped. I remember Snowflake was 65, 70 billion, and Palantir was hanging out at 30 billion, and worthless, right? In the eyes of Wall Street. And here we are, 18 months later, and the market cap's completely flipped. Palantir's at 75 billion, and Snowflake is in the 30s. So, yeah, interesting how the turntables turn. So, appreciate you guys, and hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Cheers.